On this topic for today's episode, I want to talk to you about fear and how to overcome fear. I don't care if we're 8 years old or 80 years old, we're all afraid of something. But how can we, mere humans, overcome fear? Is it possible? Is it not possible? Is fear real? Is fear not real? Let's talk about that on the Purposely Broken World. The following is a part of Uchi Productions. All comments expressed are strictly that of Kevin Nunez and his guest. Thank you for your time and enjoy the show. I am Kevin Nunez, the host of the flagship show. Do you know that 1 in 4 Americans are diagnosed with some form of disability? At least according to the CDC. Well, guess what? I am your new disability buddy. On this show, we will discuss how disability, faith, and society always interact with each other, even though no one wants to talk about that. This show is designed to give you more questions than answers. It's designed to help you have a conversation around your dinner table. If you're into that kind of thing, this is the show for you. Laugh, live, and love while you listen or watch this podcast. See you soon. Hi, friends, and welcome to the second episode of September for the Purposely Broken World. I am your host, Kevin Nunez, as I say in the intro. Hope you guys are having a good day. Thank you once again for spending a few minutes with me. You guys will be seeing this on September 15th is the release day. So hopefully you guys are back to school or back to your fall routines. Your fantasy football squads are all set up and ready for the new season. Hope nobody has a large bet in place so you don't lose a lot of money. Hope you guys have your fall shows picked out and set to recording your DVR, or you know where to watch them on Hulu. Hulu tends to have everything ready the next day. I recommend watching The Good Doctor. Anyway, on this topic for today's episode, I want to talk to you about fear and how to overcome fear. I don't care if we're 8 years old or 80 years old. We're all afraid of something. But how can we, mere humans, overcome fear? Is it possible? Is it not possible? Is fear real? Is fear not real? Let's talk about that on the Purposely Broken World. We're all afraid of something, right? Whether it's something stupid like spiders, or if it's something more realistic like drowning, or losing a loved one, or not having enough money to survive, not being able to pay our bills. Maybe it's you're afraid of getting into or out of a relationship. Maybe you're afraid of your family and friends. You can be afraid of a lot of things. Now, it's fake to assume that after a certain age, you're not afraid of anything. I think if you do that, it actually shows weakness. Because I think honestly, it's to deny fear is to deny your own humanity. And in the same way, we have to accept that we're not perfect and we're not going to be perfect. We have to also accept that we're going to be afraid of something. In this episode, I'm going to really go into my own personal stories and tell you basically what I'm afraid of. and how I overcame those fears. Um, I won't deny it. When I was a kid, my nickname was the chicken, El Gallina, because I was, and I guess in some ways, still am, afraid of some things. And so, how do we overcome that? But if you're thinking, well, you're in a wheelchair, so you don't have a real grasp of life, I dare say to you that because I'm in a wheelchair, in some ways, I have a better grasp of life than some folks out there. That might be a controversial statement, but it's my podcast, so freedom of speech in America. Let me say what I want to say. Let me talk about irrational fears. What's going to be irrational to some people is going to be rational to others. Some of the examples I give you are going to be really weird to you. They're going to be out there to you. They're going to be uncomfortable to you. But my life, in some ways, is kind of always uncomfortable. So, literally, kind of welcome to my world. First fear I want to talk about is kind of me being out of my chair. To this day, I don't necessarily like it. Yes, I do not spend 24 hours a day in my chair. I've never had a bed sore or any sore like that, thank goodness. Fun fact, Christopher Reeves, the man who played Superman in the 80s, who became more famous after becoming paralyzed than he was for being Superman, because he was this, ruggedly handsome, strong gentleman that was basically from one day to the next became, an invalid. He broke his neck and had a severe spinal cord injury. He had, with his, foundation after the years, and he had an army of caregivers at his disposal, literally. He didn't depend on, an obvious government program. He had his own resources to actually live and thrive. And yes, he did create a Christopher Reeves Foundation that does tons of stuff for charity, even to this day. However, fun fact, he died of a bed sore that got infected and it killed him, caused sepsis, the whole 9 yards. He literally had an army of caregivers, but he just couldn't get his body to move enough, and it caused him to have a bed sore and eventually pass away. So, again, my fear is, of course, or one of them I should say, is dying in either in bed or not being in my chair. Now, can I move in bed? Yes. The odds of me getting a bed sore today are extremely unlikely, because I do move around in bed. I can turn and do all that kind of stuff, thank God. However, if I'm not in my chair, I cannot get out of bed on my own. So I'm literally, regardless, even if I can, shimmy and move and turn and whatever, I'm still not getting out of bed. It doesn't matter if I make $100,000 on this podcast or sell 1 million books in a month. I'm not getting out of bed without someone's help. I could have a job at the White House tomorrow, and still need someone to get me out of bed in order to get to the president's uh, meeting whenever he would need me. Okay, so like people are like, oh my god, money's good, and yes, money would make my life a lot easier in some aspects, but in others, not really, because I still need someone to get me out of bed. An accessible kitchen, like you see on those extreme makeover shows, um, um, are beautiful and they look fantastic, but they cost a lot of money. Only in the movies do people with disabilities have lots of money. Realistically, that doesn't happen. It's not a thing. So, again, for me, being in my wheelchair is kind of more important because then I can actually move and be more productive and actually have a life. Um, in bed, even if I have my phone with me, I'm still not, doing much of anything at all. Could I call the cops or whatever? Yeah. But again, it's not the same thing. It'd be much more difficult. So one of my fears, again, that sounds irrational to you, would be being stuck in bed and not being able to move out of said bed. Um, it's one of those things to me. Um, I recently did a hospital stay because I was recuperating from hernia surgery, and yes, it was one night, and I'm not afraid of being one night in bed alone, but I knew going in that it was just one night. Could I have done more? Probably. Am I being a little bit overdramatic? Probably. But again, how I got through this, for me, honestly, again, this is where I might lose some followers, but it is what it is. Um, I found faith. I prayed all night, and it was me and God. It was me and Jesus all night, honestly. Um, it was how I stayed calm, how I stayed relaxed. Um, because yes, I had the nurses and all that. They were at the hospital, but they were still had other patients. I wasn't the only one there. So, and yes, I am self-sufficient, but I also know there are others out there who cannot, yell at the top of their lungs if they need anything. Um, so those people are the ones that I am constantly thinking about. There are people who died during COVID, the shutdown, that passed away without family, without friends, without someone by their bedside. And they've kind of been forgotten about now that COVID is over, quote unquote. Before I get to my next fear, I want to take a minute and pause and promote my Cash App, which you'll find in the link in the description, my PayPal, which is in the link in the description, and the link to the podcast itself, which is also in the link in the description. I'm not looking to make a lot of money, but honestly, this does take a lot of work and effort to produce these podcasts. So if you find value in my work, I use the value method. I don't, have commercials running through my podcast. If you like my work and if you like what I'm saying, then please support me in any way you can. Cash App, PayPal, the link to the podcast directly, or you can buy my book, Confessions from Disability Limbo, also in Amazon and audiobook. That's it for the plugs. Let me get to my other fear, and I think this one is more relatable to most people out there. My other fear, honestly, is it used to be dying. Honestly, it really did used to be dying. I want to get to that because in movies, people with disabilities are portrayed as these horrible, death that we suffer every other, we're supposed to have this horrible existence of a life, always in constant pain. So I just figured that as I get older, that's how I would die, just in constant pain. Ever since I, again, found Jesus, and I'm not a pastor or a priest, and I might lose a lot of followers for saying I have faith in Jesus Christ, I know when I die, it's not going to be scary anymore. I'm going to actually dance with Jesus, and that's going to be really, really cool, and beyond excited to actually have that experience whenever that day comes. Am I going to, go and, slit my wrist or anything like that? No. Am I going to, go on a roller coaster without my seatbelt? No. But, I used to be really afraid of dying. I thought I would have this horrible, horrible, painful death. And just leave those I love behind. But not really, not anymore. My last fear, and I'm sorry if this is relatable to you or not, but maybe it will be, is as a 36-year-old male. And again, this is gonna sound stupid to a lot of you. I'm afraid that even though I know I love Jesus and Jesus loves me, I'm afraid that I'm gonna die alone without a partner or significant other. Honestly, it's not about sex at all. Sex is the last thing I'm honestly worried about, because from my point of view, it all works. Use your imagination, but everything does work the way it's biologically supposed to. And there's thousands of resources for people with disabilities to have meaningful sexual relationships between consenting adults. You can find tons of resources for that kind of thing. Those I will now put in the description, because that's more of a personal thing. But if you want to go online and research healthy, sexual references online for people with disabilities, there's a billion of them out there. I honestly haven't looked at them because I don't want to look at them by myself. I want, my future partner and I to go through that experience together. That's kind of the point. What am I looking for? I want someone to laugh with. I want someone who's going to argue with me when we have an argument, but still help me do what I have to do to get through life. And I can help her, just not in the same ways. Am I gonna cut the grass? No. Am I gonna cheat on her? Probably not. Am I gonna worry that, she's gonna get mad because I can't lift 200 pounds on a dumbbell? No. Am I worried that I won't be able to provide for her, financially? Yes. That's what I'm worried about. Am I worried that I'm going to constantly have to be funny because that's the only way I can keep her entertained? Yes. Am I worried that I'm only going to have to impress her with podcasts and books and things like that to have enough to make her financially stable? And again, is she going to be happy with being, to a certain extent, somewhat broke the rest of her life? I can't promise a house on a hill. I can't promise I'm gonna be Prince Charming and say all the right things and do all the right things. Yes, I have had relationships, good ones, but again, I'm 36 and it's time to settle down, and it's hard to find that person. And as every day goes by, it becomes more difficult to have faith in that aspect. It's funny how the life works, because you can have faith that I'm gonna dance with Jesus all night long. I have faith that I'm going to be able to provide for my brother who also has a disability. I'm going to have faith that we can take care of ourselves. That's fine. But when Valentine's Day comes around, that day always hurts. Because I don't care how money. I know it's the world's dumbest holiday. I know that. Logically. I know it's a holiday meant for the commercial industry to make money off of Hallmark cards. I know that. But again, as a hopeful romantic, not a hopeless, hopeful, Valentine's Day kind of sucks. New Year's Eve at midnight kind of sucks when you want to kiss the girl and who's there, but there's no girl there. All you have there is your family and your little cousins, which is still a blessing and a wonderful gift from, again, God. But you still missing that. So that's where it literally comes down to, again, one of the most famous verses in the world. Not my will, but your will be done. Is it always easy to accept God's will? No. That's kind of the other part of fear. Is sometimes we have to accept that we're going to go through stuff. We're going to go through fires, not knowing what's on the other side. We're going to go through a period of darkness, knowing there's light on the other side, but we're not always going to be able to see the light. We're going to go through tribulations and trials, but we're not going to know how long they're going to last. God doesn't work on demand. God works on His timetable. And yes, His timetable is the best timetable. That's been proven time and time again. But while we're in the moment, it doesn't really feel that way, does it? So I don't know what you're afraid of. Maybe I said something that inspired you and made you think. Or maybe I just rambled for the last 20 minutes. I don't know. But hopefully I said something that woke you up, made you think, made you feel. That's kind of the point of this whole podcast, is to purposely ask questions that I or no one really has answers to. It's designed to make you think. Is this a podcast that people are going to listen all the time? Probably not. Is this a podcast that would get shared? That would be awesome. And if you're interested, you can leave a voice message. If you're listening on Spotify, you can leave a voice message and, send me your support or whatever. But do I expect it to happen? No. Are these podcasts on YouTube? Yes, they are, but I can't monetize YouTube because nobody watches enough of my videos. I don't do this for the likes. I don't do this for the follows. I don't do this for the money, and I never have. If you want a podcaster who's going to actually, order up money and, promote a bunch of projects, you might want to go check somebody else. I'm not Logan Paul. I'm not going to have energy drinks sponsoring me, or anything like that. This is one guy opening up his heart to Jesus and you, hoping to make a small difference in someone's day. That's what I got today, folks. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment, leave a like, leave a share. All that good stuff. See you guys on October 1st. If you have any ideas for topics, let me know. If you have any questions, let me know about my life or anything like that. Follow our social media accounts: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Thread. I'm also on Thread now. Check all that out. Have a good day. See you soon. Bye. This has been another episode of the Purposely Broken World, part of the Advocacy Life podcast network. The Purposely Broken World will air 2 episodes a month. If you like this episode, please consider supporting the podcast by clicking in the link in the description. Every little bit helps. Please follow our social media accounts on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All comments are welcome. Thank you so much for your time. Have a blessed day, and see you very soon.